All right, and welcome. I am Nicole Dean, and I'm here with my business partner, Melissa Ingold. Hey, Melissa.
Hey.
And I am really excited to share our presenter today, who is the amazingly smart Jessica Larrew. I met Jessica approximately, geez, it's been maybe 8 months ago. And she started a business coaching relationship with me. She wanted to learn more about passive income, and so I started talking to her about her business. And I'm like, holy cow, this girl is like doing awesome. She's doing things I had never heard of. She's comes at things with angles I've never seen before, and it's like she didn't know there were rules, so she just broke them all. All the rules that we think that we should have in our head, she never had these, so she'd just go out and do these amazing things and come back and report to me. I'm like, dang girl. And it seems like every time I talk to her in our coaching relationship, my response was, dang girl. And so I have been wanting to bring her in front of my audience for ages because she does things differently and is making money for 5 years now, I think. Jessica, is it 5 years?
Yep, over 5 years.
Over 5 years using Amazon in a way that most people aren't familiar with yet. So Jessica is going to present about that today, and I think it's going to be really interesting. And I want you guys, when you listen to this presentation, don't just think about whether this applies to you. Think about whether this applies to anyone that you know that could use a solid way to make some money that doesn't involve any technical skills whatsoever. And this is a real business model. And like I said, I don't know how many of you read my email that came on here or read, one of our other ones, but I have been going to seminars and teaching at seminars for years, seeing some of the same people that I've gotten to know really well, and they were still struggling to make money. And then they started using this method, and all of a sudden, and they started selling on Amazon, and all of a sudden they've earned a full-time income. And it's like, wow, this really is life-changing. And so Jessica's put me in some of her groups, and I've been able to see the testimonials of people saying, Jessica, you've changed my life. I finally have an income stream. You've helped me save my mortgage. All of these things, and it just is so touching. So I just wanted to let you know that Jessica is an amazing person that you're definitely going to want to learn this stuff from, because she actually walks the walk, not just talks the talk. And on that note, Jessica, I will let you begin your presentation. The mic is yours.
All right, thanks, Nicole. I won't give too much of a background since you already did such a great introduction, but I will say that, like you said, I have been selling on Amazon for more than 5 years. I lost my job and went to selling online to replace my income, and the only way that I knew to do that was physical products. And so I started selling online on eBay and then transitioned over to Amazon. And then 3 years ago I was able, I was able to bring my husband home as well, because I was able to replace his income. And so now we both sell on Amazon. And we call it full-time, but it's very, very part-time for us. We work less than 20 hours per week on the Amazon business. So my passion really is to share that same opportunity with other people. So I'm really excited to be able to be here and to share that with you guys.
We are too.
Great. So we're going to get right into it, and we're going to start with what Amazon FBA is, because you may be familiar with Amazon because you buy from Amazon, or you may have Kindle books. I know that a lot of us have books on Kindle, and I say us, but I don't. I should.
A lot of our list does. Our people do. We'll get you there.
So Amazon FBA is actually selling on the Amazon platform, but you're selling physical products. You're not selling Kindle digital products. And so these are the same products that you would be buying if you were ordering from Amazon. You can sell anything from board games to ketchup and sheets. All these different things can be sold on Amazon. So these are the physical products on Amazon. Fulfillment by Amazon is what FBA stands for, and so we always just say Amazon FBA, and everybody's like, I have no idea what that means. And even whenever I spell it out and say it's Fulfillment by Amazon, it doesn't make that much sense. So what it means is that we get to use Amazon's fulfillment centers, and they take care of the processing of the shipments for us and the orders. And so basically we're listing on Amazon.com, and then the way that I do it is by having them process and ship the orders for me.
Now, Jessica, just to be clear, this is not like Etsy. You're not making these products in this case. You're actually finding them. You're shopping for them. And then Amazon goes and sells those. So if you guys are thinking, well, I don't want to knit booties or something, that is not what this is at all.
Right. This is actually stuff that you can buy locally, retail stores, or that you can buy wholesale. There's all kinds of ways that you can get your products, but this isn't something that we make ourselves, no. So with Amazon, they're doing, I think this actually goes my next, no. Amazon does all of the advertising, and they bring the customers. I think I might have that on both slides, so we'll see if I get there.
Well, that's because it's such an important point.
Let's check. Let's see. I'm just going to skip through. Nobody look. Yeah, there we go. Okay. I copied that slide to make a first slide, so I knew I was getting ahead of myself. So just to clarify, that's what the FBA part stands for. But now we'll talk about the why FBA. Is that good?
That's good, and I'll just throw in a little bit more explanation there. Why, I think we can answer the question if you could say, why would Amazon need me? You know, they've obviously got huge warehouses, they've got shipment departments, they've got employees, so why would they need any of us on the call when they are such a big entity themselves? You know, it just, at first I didn't get it, so if you could touch on that first, I think it'll clear it up a lot.
Yeah, I think that is a big question because they are the largest retailer, and so they should be able to carry everything that anybody could ever want. But it's physically impossible for any one company to do that. There's just so many products available, and so they carry a lot of products, but the third-party sellers actually make up more than 50% of what they sell every year. And so they still get their money because they charge the fees, but they don't have to actually go out and source the products because they would have to build relationships with all of these retailers, because when Amazon is getting their products, they're doing it through a wholesale relationship. So they're actually buying from the manufacturer and getting it sent direct to them. But what we do is we fill in all those little gaps. So they may carry, you know, 3 flavors of cereal, and we would carry the 4th and 5th one in the line. But they don't have to carry everything because the third-party sellers all fill in those gaps.
Okay, I got it. So we're basically, the FBA sellers are part of Amazon's world domination plan.
Exactly. They want to carry every single thing possible, and so that's why they allow other people to do it, is because we'll bring in everything else. And that is really their goal, is they want to have every single thing on their platform.
Which is the amazing part, because they've basically allowed people just like you and me to go and source those items for them, and we get a cut of that profit. I mean, some people are selling on Amazon and are making some good, like 6 figures a month money in different ways. So there's tons of opportunity here. You know, there's a type of stuff Jessica's going to talk about, which is a great way to get started, and then there are other ways to even take that further, aren't there, Jessica?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, really, the opportunity that there is. You can, you know, do something that we would call small and just make $500 or $1,000 a month, or you could make $20, $30, $50, $100,000 a month. It's really unlimited. It just depends on how much you want to work. And so I know with us in the coaching realm, it's like, well, how many hours do we really want to put onto this business? But like I said, with us, we work less than 20 hours a week, and we still bring in 6 figures a year through this business. So, you know, it's a great opportunity in that aspect as well.
And the timeliness right now, I mean, going into the 4th quarter is kind of a huge deal. Okay, go ahead. I've interrupted enough. I just wanted to clarify that, because it is a hard concept to wrap your brain around initially. It's like, they're Amazon. Why would they pay me to be the middleman for all of these products? And it's quite simple because they truly, I saw an interview with the CEO of Amazon, and he said that they wanted to be the one-stop shop for pretty much everything on earth. And this is their way of doing it. So it's a great opportunity for us. It's still in the growth stages, so that's why I wanted to bring it to you.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Jessica.
Okay. So now that we know what FBA is, let's talk about why you should be selling on Amazon FBA and why it's such a good business opportunity. So the number one thing is that there's a low cost of entry and a quick return. Usually we only see one or the other, especially with online businesses. We can have something where there's a low cost of entry, but you may have to work on it for years before you actually see a return. Or on the other hand, you could spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars buying something like a franchise, and then you'll start to see money coming back, but it may take 2 or 3 years still before you get an actual profit because of the amount of money you spent getting into the business. So with Amazon, you actually can do a low cost of entry plus start to see money right away. So you can start with $500 and then within 3 months be seeing a $500 profit monthly plus getting your money back. And you can have sales within just 2 to 3 weeks. You'll have your first sales of the items that you send in. Another one, and this is a big one, is you don't need that much to get started supplies-wise. So most of us, well actually I would say all of us that are here have a computer at least, or a phone that's a smartphone because you're watching this presentation somehow. So you have internet access, you have computer access, and most of us have a printer right in our own home. And those are the 3 basic things that you really have to have in order to get started. And then there's other little like office supplies that you would need, but just to get started and get your feet wet, all you really need is the computer, the printer, and the internet access. The big one is that Amazon does all the advertising and that they bring the customers. So I know that this is going to be a big one for all of you guys because you're building businesses on your own, and you know that you can have a great product, you can have a great coaching service, but if nobody knows about you and nobody knows how to find you, then it doesn't mean anything because you're not making any money. Well, with Amazon, as long as you have a product, they're going to make sure that the world finds it. They want that item to sell, and so they're going to bring the customers right to you. And not only are they actively seeking new customers, but they're the #1 place people are going to when they want to buy something. So the customers who are coming to Amazon are ready to buy. They already have Prime memberships where they've paid to be able to buy and get expedited shipping. And so when people come and they look at the items that we have listed, they're ready to buy them right now. We don't have to do any type of convincing or waiting. They just come and they buy.
Hey Jessica, can I ask a question? So since you're not the one shipping out each of these orders to all the customers, the products that you're sourcing for Amazon go in the Amazon warehouse. Are those products actually available to Prime buyers?
Yes. So
that's huge.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing because you can sell on Amazon without using the FBA program, and you would show up with your price plus a shipping price. But if you're in the Amazon warehouse, then you are automatically, all of your items are available for Prime members. And so that's where the biggest advantage is because people will choose us over regular merchants that are not using the FBA program because we come with that Amazon backing. So it's not just that our items
Jessica.
Yeah, it is a huge one.
Because I pretty much only buy stuff through Prime unless I have no option, just because I know I get the free shipping, I get it in 2 days, so I'm probably buying a lot of stuff that people just like you are sending into Amazon. That is cool. I wanted to make another point, and that is that you said Amazon does all the advertising and brings the customers, and one thing that I think of when I read that is that because people that are sourcing and doing what you do think that way, that gives those of us with marketing skills an advantage over them. Is that correct?
Yeah, it really does. Because when I first started, the way that the listings were made didn't mean anything to me, and I didn't ever think about doing my own type of advertising. Over the years, as I started to bring my own products to the market, where I would like make bundles where I would bring two things together and sell them as one product, not making my own product, but my own listing, I realized how important it is to be able to market those as well. So that Amazon even could market them. If I didn't have any information, they couldn't do anything with it. But they do have like a whole ad network, so you can place your own ads, and then your listing specifically would come up before other ones. And
Cool.
so that's a big thing. And if you have no idea what that means, then it doesn't help you. But for the people in your group that already are doing ads for other things, that's a big difference. And you can advertise even on Facebook and your own website if you want to. It doesn't have to be just through the Amazon advertising.
That is so cool. And for those of you that are just coming on or that aren't quite grasping this yet, let me back up again and kind of explain it just 15 seconds, and then we'll move on. The Amazon Fulfilled By program has people like Jessica and anyone on this call can go out and find products like shopping online, and I know you're going to get into this, Jessica. I'm just trying to give an overview. Shopping online, even things that are unopened in your house, or shopping in your community for real products. You ship them to Amazon. Amazon puts them in their warehouse under the Prime program, which means they show up on Amazon.com. Other people buy them, and you profit. That's how the business model works. And that leads right into your last point on that slide there.
Yeah, perfect. So the biggest thing, and this was the most important for me to be able to grow our business to the level that it's at now, is that once the inventory leaves your hand, Amazon basically does the rest of it. So we don't have to worry about having the right size boxes to send all of these orders to people's houses. We don't have to worry about the customer emailing us and asking, when's my order going to get here, or have you shipped it out yet? We don't have to do any of that. Amazon does it. We don't have to worry about having enough space to keep all the stuff. If we had all of our physical inventory at our house, our 3-car garage would probably be full. And so it just isn't physically possible for us to build such a huge business but have to manage all of the inventory and the shipping. That was one of the big things why I left eBay, was because I was shipping out 30 orders per day, and there just isn't time to do that. If you want to live a lifestyle business like I do, then we can send our stuff in, we can do a big shipment, and then we can take off for 2 weeks and not have to worry about if our stuff is going to sell or not. We don't have to put our store on vacation mode like you would have to do with like eBay or Etsy or your own website, because it's all going to be handled once we've sent it into Amazon.
I think that's just amazing. I mean, truly, I'm thinking of so many people in my life right now that this could be absolutely life-altering for them, because it's something that they can get without having to be techie or being a good copywriter or anything. It's simple. And as far as what products to pick, I know, Jessica, you're going to get into that further on in here, and that's part of the secret sauce too, of course.
Yeah. All right, so we'll back up just a little bit and we'll talk about what you need to get started. I talked about, there wasn't that many actual tools that you needed, but other things that you need is you need a seller account. So you can't just go on to Amazon and list items without them having your information. So you go to Amazon.com and scroll all the way down to the bottom and let them know that you want to make money with them. They have it pretty much right there, like, you can make money with us, and it's kind of in the same area where you would sign up to be an affiliate for Amazon, but you create a seller account down there on the bottom. And once you have your seller account, then at that point you're able to list items for sale, which takes us to the next thing, which is you can only sell if you have inventory.
Jessica, can I interrupt? Just to be clear, this is different than the Amazon affiliate program. This is a completely separate entity. This is you're shipping products in, and
Right.
they're selling them. Whereas an affiliate program, you're just promoting other people's stuff, and you're probably promoting a lot of people like Jessica. You could even be promoting her as an affiliate and not even realize it because you're selling her products on Amazon.
Exactly.
But I
And
think you're usually earning more than the affiliate is by far.
right. The funny thing is you can actually be an affiliate for your own product. So if you have your own website and say your website is about kids art and you were selling a kids art set, you could do a blog post about it and link to it with an affiliate link. So you would be getting the affiliate commission plus you would be getting the money that you earned off of the sale.
Plus, if they buy anything else in that transaction, then you'd also get credited for that as well.
Okay. We love Amazon affiliate too. But yeah, totally different for this part. All right, so in order to have inventory, I've found 3 ways that are pretty simple for people to get started with. Like you mentioned before, there's all kinds of venues that you can use to find inventory. That once you get started, it's pretty much unlimited that you can do. But the simplest ways that I've found there's 3 ways. So the first one is to find brand new items at your home. So this is what I tell people when they're like, I just want to get my feet wet. I just want to see if this is legit, and I don't want to go to a store and buy anything. I don't want to spend any money. So how can I do that? Well, you can do that with the items that you have at your own house if you have new items. You can sell used items on Amazon, but I don't recommend that when you're first getting started. It's much easier to start with brand new items. So just take a walk around your house and see if you have anything in your board game cabinet or in your kitchen, some small kitchen appliance that you thought was going to be brilliant, or you bought, a Vitamix blender and then decided it was not for you. You weren't going to do juicing or whatever. Any of those type of items that you have that are brand new, just pull them up on Amazon on the actual website and see what they're selling for. And if you can find a couple items that are selling for more than $20, then go and list those items and send them into Amazon FBA. And I say over $20. You can sell less than that, of course, but you don't want to do all this work and then you don't actually make very much money off of it. So I say $20 minimum for stuff around your own home. The next one, and this is what I normally would teach somebody if they just came in and they didn't have a lot of money to start with, and they weren't very familiar with online. They would start with local clearance items. So you would go to your local Target or Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, those kind of stores where they often have sections of the store dedicated to their clearance items that they're no longer going to carry. You go in and look for items that are marked at least 50%, but I prefer more around the 70 to 75% range. And then you can look those items up on Amazon and see if they're able to be sold for at least 3 times. And I'll talk more about the inventory selection later on. But the third way, and this is what I wanted to talk about with you guys, because you are already doing online businesses and you don't want you may not want to go out into stores and source your products, but with online sourcing, that's what I want to talk about today. So that's where you're going to online retailers and you're finding products, having them shipped direct to your house, and then sending those off to Amazon. So that's going to be our focus for inventory selection for today's training. Anything before I move on, Nicole?
No, I think you got that one perfect.
All right.
I think now that we've got the foundation down, you can just rock and roll.
Okay. All right, so the benefits of online sourcing. This one is a big one, is that you can do this from home or anywhere that has internet access, because all you're going to be doing is looking at major retail websites. They can even be minor retail websites. They don't have to be big name ones. But you just need to be connected to the internet so that you can look at the retail site and you can look at the Amazon site as well to be able to compare the products. So you can do it even from your phone. I've looked up items from my phone and thought, oh, I could just order this really, really quick and just place a quick order on my phone. So anywhere that you have internet access, if you go on vacation, you can do it in the car if you have a hotspot. I've done that a few times. And then oftentimes from the hotel connected to the Wi-Fi. I will often do some online sourcing. We have a game that we like to play every time that we go on a day trip or on a vacation is we need to find enough inventory to pay for the whole trip. So if I can do an online order, that counts, or we stop at a store and we try and find products on clearance that will pay for our trip. So if we, the trip costs us $500, we need to find $500 worth of profitable items on the trip just to pay for it. The other benefit of online sourcing is that you're able to purchase in larger quantities than in a retail store. If you've ever been wanting to stock up on something and you go into a store, you may not be able to get very many. And it's the same way with us when we're trying to buy inventory, especially if you're doing clearance inventory, because you'll go in and you may only find 2 or 3 in the actual store. When you're online, you're actually pulling from the warehouses of the whole chain, so you don't have to worry about only being limited to just a couple of items. So there may be items that we could find at Target locally where we could just find 2, and if we really were interested in that item, we could go to the other Targets in our area, but I would still be limited to the number of Targets I have. So I could get to about 5 Targets in my area, going to 3 different cities, and maybe I'll get lucky and get 2 or 3 from each of those stores. But when I order online, I would get to pull from all of those stores, and then I could get a large quantity sent to me. So for when you're just getting started, you may not be thinking, I want to order 50 of one thing, but as you grow your business, you're going to realize that the more you order at once, the less you have to do later. So what we like to do is order as big of quantities as we're comfortable with. So it's not out of the ordinary for me to buy out an online sources clearance item, because I figure if I buy all that they have, then I won't have any more competition after that, rather than me buying 5 and then 10 other sellers also buying 5. I can just purchase it all and then I can control the market that way. The next one, and I know that this is huge for all of us who have online businesses, because we like to work from home and we like to have the benefit of staying home, but you don't have to worry about the room in your car or driving all over town. So if you're a one-car family, this is a huge one. If you just have a little sedan, this is huge, because when I started, I just had a Dodge Neon, and so I would fill that car up to the brim multiple times and come home and have to have my husband unload the car for me so I could go back out. And that even still happens sometimes in my Suburban with the 3rd seat out and the 2nd row folded down. I fill up my space pretty fast, and then I'm driving around all over town, so I can do 8-hour sourcing trips. Just like when I talked to you on the phone yesterday, Nicole, I was on the road looking for products. So when you're doing just online sourcing, you don't have to worry about being gone all the time.
Well, and your gas prices too. I mean, my gosh, driving a Suburban around, that adds up too when you're sourcing locally.
Exactly, especially if you're going far. Like yesterday was a distance trip, so we were going from Modesto to Sacramento, so a few hours drive just to get to where our destination was. The next one is that the items are shipped right to you in boxes that can be used to ship them back out to Amazon. So this doesn't seem like a very big deal, but every piece of equipment that you have to buy, or every piece of like tools that you have to get, so boxes included, if you get them with your order, that just makes one less thing that you have to worry about having. And so that's just a kind of an extra little perk, is that you get good shipping boxes that fit the items. There's been times where I've bought stuff in the store and think, oh, this is going to be great, I'm going to make $100 on this, and then I get it home and my husband's like, well, you can make $100 on that, but how are we going to get it to Amazon? We don't have a box that's going to fit that. But when you order stuff online, you get boxes that just fit the stuff perfectly. And so that's a big one. And now anything that's big, I only order it on or online. I don't get it in the store anymore, because I've had that happen too many times where we're trying to finagle a box to fit around our products.
That makes sense. And a lot of the questions that are coming in are from people asking about shipping. And I know that Amazon has a special shipping program as well. Can you talk about that a little bit for us?
Yeah. Um, so we use UPS, and this is only available to U.S. sellers. It's not available to international sellers, the UPS discounted rates. But we connect our Amazon account is where we do all of our shipping. And they get extremely good rates from UPS because of the volume that they're doing, because all of us sellers plus them are on one account. And so we get these really, really low rates. So we end up spending about 50 cents a pound on average to get our products to Amazon. So if you've shipped items, you know that that is really, really low. Because if we send items ourselves, we're usually around $2 to $3 per pound to send the same products. And so we package up our products in, we would do like one large box could hold 20 to 25 of our smaller items that we're sending in. And we put our own labels on them so that Amazon knows that they're ours. So if you think about it and you're like, oh yeah, I've noticed weird labels on my stuff when I get it from Amazon. That's how they know what our stuff is, because each label is unique to the seller. And so my label would be different from yours even if we were selling the same item. And so we label our stuff, box it up, make sure that it's going to get to Amazon safely, and then all of that goes in one box to the warehouse. And once the warehouse gets it, they unpack it and then sort it. And once it sells, they send it all out.
So Jessica, basically if you can get free shipping while you're sourcing it online to your house, and then you turn around and you use the Amazon's discounted shipping, then it really isn't a factor for you.
Yeah, it isn't that big of an expense. And when we're figuring out the profit of our items, we try to figure out how much we're going to spend on shipping as well. But usually, because items aren't that big, even if we're doing a 5-pound item, we're only adding additional cost of $2.50. So as long as you're working on items where you have larger margins, which is what most of us want to do, then that really isn't something that you have to worry about. Anything else on the shipping?
No, I know it's an issue for a lot of people because they're starting to do the math in their heads and they're thinking, oh, how much is left for me? And that was a big revelation for me to understand that you're not paying full price shipping to Amazon. You're paying pretty inexpensive shipping.
Yeah.
So if you've got 25 items in that box and you got it for free shipping to your house, then that's really a non-issue.
Right. Right, so let's talk about ways that you can actually find inventory online that you can sell on Amazon. So I always recommend that you start with websites that you're familiar with, and in the clearance section is usually the easiest place. You can actually look at items that are not on clearance and find ones that you can sell on Amazon for more. Most people are going to Amazon with the goal of getting the best price. But there's a huge market of people who are going to Amazon only for the convenience. They're not price comparing from website to website. And so there's times where we can find items like over the summer we were buying banana boat sunscreen from Walmart.com for $6 and then selling it on Amazon.com for $18. So that was a regular cost product. But for getting started, just to get your feet wet, I would recommend that you start with clearance and on websites that you're already familiar with. And the reason why I say that is because each website has a whole bunch of different things about it that if you know them, it will make your shopping experience much easier. So I can go to Target.com and know that if I use my red card, I get free shipping to my house no matter what the cost of the order is or what I buy, and I get an additional 5% off. But if you don't shop on Target very often, you wouldn't know that. The same with places like Kohl's. I know that if I spend a certain amount, I can get free shipping. I know that I can usually find a coupon code online to get up to 30% off, and usually would get Kohl's cash back. But if I go to a place like Zulily where I've never shopped before, I don't know what the threshold is to get free shipping. I don't know how long it takes to get my items shipped. There's nothing worse than ordering something for inventory and it not arriving to your house for 3 weeks because you just weren't familiar with the website. But I know if I order from Target, it's only going to take about 4 to 5 days to arrive. So you want to really start with places where you're familiar with, and there may be places that I'm not familiar with, and so that's actually an advantage. And then what you do, once you start to find items that you're interested in, you can go item by item and just check every single one. And what you're looking for is you would pull up the Amazon.com website, and you're going to be looking for items that are selling for at least 3 times more on Amazon than they are on the retail website. And then the next thing is you need to use FBA Calculator, which is the website is FBACalc.com, and that's going to help you to determine your profit. So every time I log in to start sourcing online, I'm pulling up 3 browser windows in this 3 browser tabs in the same window. So I'm pulling up the retail site, so for example, Target.com, and then I'm pulling up the Amazon website so that I can put in all the different items that I'm looking at, and then I have FBA Calculator in the 3rd window so that when I find an item that's selling for 3 times more, I can calculate the exact profit for that item. So 3 browsers open all the time. Once you find your profitable items, then of course you're going to order them and then send them into Amazon. So sounds simple enough, right?
Yes. Well, I mean, simple as far as you've done a lot of trial and error to get there. And I mean, I know that with your students, there's a lot of little steps with each part, but I mean, you're giving a great overview of how this works and, you know, how the pieces go together. And I think it's just fascinating myself. We've got a couple people that are still unsure about where to find the products. So can you just back up and cover the 3 ways that you find products and just name off maybe some websites or some places that people commonly go to, even though of course you wouldn't encourage people to go to all the common places. You want them to find places that other people aren't in addition to that.
One that I use a lot is Walmart.com, Kohl's.com, Target, Groupon is one that isn't always thought about but is actually a pretty good site to find inventory on.
And then locally you do Big Lots a lot, or initially people were using Big Lots a lot, right?
Yeah, so like discount type stores, and if you do like places like Big Lots or TJ Maxx, Ross, those kind of stores, it's going to be a little different than if you go into a retail store because those items are already discounted, and so you don't have to focus on clearance items because those items are already discounted. And then the retail stores, pretty much anything that has a clearance section is free game for us. So even when we go grocery shopping, we're looking at clearance items, whether they're on the shelf or like on a table at the end. But is that what you said?
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So I do have a couple examples to share of just some items that I've sold and bought online. So the first one was something that was purchased on Walmart.com, and I know you probably can't read all of the details about it, but it's a kid's Barbie tablet. So it's like what you would imagine like a Kindle is, but a kid's version of that. And I bought it on Walmart for $16.20, and it was a daily deal. So I get a lot of the daily deals sent to my email box. And they limited it to 3, so I was only able to purchase 3 of them. But I was able to sell each one for $38.15. So this is a copy of my order that they tell me when the customer buys it. This is what I see when the customer buys. Sold it for $38.15 each. And after Amazon's fees and my cost of the item, my profit was $12.82 per item. And so that's it wasn't quite 3 times, so it didn't meet that guideline where I say if you find something that's 3 times, that's usually our really easy way to know that something's going to be profitable. But with higher price items like this where it's cost 16, as long as I'm going to make more than 10 on the item, I'll still be willing to buy that. So just for these 3 items, which took me about 10 minutes to check it out, compare it on Amazon, do the FBA calculator, place the order, and get it sent in less than 20 minutes time for that whole process. And our total profit on the 3 items is $38.46. So it may not seem like that big of a deal, but when you think about it only took me 20 minutes total, if I do that 3 times, then I'm making $120 an hour, which isn't bad. The next one, this is an example of us going in and buying the full amount of the clearance item that they have on the website just so that we can control the market. So this is a Chase pillow for like when you're on the beach or at the pool, those kind of hard chairs. It's a pillow for that. And this is something we purchased on Kohl's.com in the seasonal clearance section for $7.50, and they had 75 of them. And so we decided to buy all of them because they were selling on Amazon for $21. So they just met that, just almost met that 3 times criteria. And we made $7.62 on each of these items. So again, it's not like we're talking about making $100 at one time. I know a lot of times people think, well, I don't want to make $5 or $10 at a time, but they add up really quickly, especially when you think about all you had to do was slap a label on it and send it off to Amazon instead of trying to ship it out. For shipping out each one of these items, it may not be worth the $7 profit, but to not have to touch it again is worth it. So selling 75 of them, we were actually able to make a profit of $571. Because of the quantity, it took us about 2 hours total to order the item and process it out and get it out of our house for shipment.
Jessica, I'm going to interrupt you again just because I think we've got some people coming on late to the call. So the way this worked is that Jessica basically researched to see what items on Kohl's.com are being sold for a higher price on Amazon.com. She found this Chase Lounge pillow. She ordered 75 of them at one time. She received the box at her home. She went into her Amazon seller's account, printed out a label, stuck it on the box that she received, sent it back to Amazon using their discounted pricing. Amazon stocked all 75 pillows in their warehouse under the FBA program under Prime sellers. So as people were going to buy these, Jessica didn't touch them again. She just got the $571.50 sent to her from Amazon over the period of time that it took for them to sell those pillows. That's how the process goes.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm getting it.
And for this one, it did take about 3 months for us to sell all 75 of those. So that's why we always have, a lot of items going at the same time. So we're never focused on just one product. Once it leaves our house, then we're looking for the next thing to sell.
And you don't have to break those up into separate boxes, put labels on each one. Just receive it, print out your label, stick it over the label that you got it. And it stays in the same box because it was shipped to you. You put it back on the UPS truck or whatever, and that's the last you see it. And you just receive your payments from Amazon as they sell it.
We do actually label each product.
Oh, you label each product. Okay.
Yeah, so that's how there's a little tiny label that covers up the barcode, and that's how they know that it's our product versus your product, is because of the code that's on that individual item.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Right. So this is kind of a more live in action item. So I don't know if it's going to be the same price as it was last week when I made this slide, but this was a current item on Walmart.com, and this is just to show you what it actually looks like across the 3 websites. If I knew we were on GoToWebinar, I probably could have done this live. So if you look at Walmart.com and you search for this Graco Suite Ladybug Security Blanket, this is something, it's not on clearance, but it did catch my eye because it was on sale, and it's a name brand. So I know that on Amazon, if it's a name brand, it's going to do better than if it's a generic, and so that's something that I always focus on. I don't look at Walmart branded items or Target branded items. I'm looking for the name brands that are recognized nationwide. And so I just copy and paste the product title over to Amazon, And then if that doesn't pull anything up, then I would shorten it up a little bit. But usually if I copy the whole title onto Amazon, it's going to pull up a listing. And so you can see on this one, it's titled just a little bit differently, but it came up in the search. So it's the same thing, the Sweet Ladybug Security Blanket. And you can see that this one is selling on Amazon for $32 plus the $5 shipping. So this is not an Amazon FBA seller. This is just a third-party merchant who's doing merchant fulfilled. So this is where we're not quite sure how long it's going to take to get it from them. And if I came in as an FBA seller, I would almost always get the sale before the person who was a merchant fulfilled seller. So we'll look back at Walmart.com. It's on sale for $8. And then on Amazon.com, it's on sale for $32 plus $5. So we always include the shipping cost into our total price because a prime buyer is not paying an extra shipping. So we would actually sell this item for $37. Now to see if there's any profit, that third website that I was telling you about, what I always have up in my browser bar is the FBA Calculator, and this is free to use. What you do is you put in the cost of the product here that you're going to sell it for on Amazon, and then you're going to put in your cost down here. And what it's done is it's broken up. I'm not sure how much of this you can see. On my screen it's pretty big. Can you actually see the numbers, Nicole?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So here it's giving you the fee breakdown that Amazon's going to be charging you. So here we can see that they're going to take $5.50 off of the top of this one. And then they're also going to charge $1 handling fee and $1 pick and pack fee. And then another fee of 55 cents. So there's all these fees that do come out. That's why you really need to use something like this FBA calculator so that you can see what your actual profit is going to be, because it's not as simple as your $37 selling price minus your $8 cost. So you should be making $29. You have to remember that Amazon does take a cut off of each of the items. And so then it will tell you what your actual profit is after your expense and the Amazon fees. So on this one, we would be making a profit of $20.87. So this isn't an item that I purchased, and I wouldn't recommend that you purchase it because it's been an example. And so even if 5 of you went and purchased it, it wouldn't be a good item anymore because the more sellers, the price would come down on that a little bit. So just for an example that you can see live. So does that make the process a little bit clearer on how you go from one website to the next?
Yes, definitely. And I love what you said when we were talking before about the levies. And because this is a security blanket, it's a levy, and if anybody is a parent and your child loses their levy, you're going to pay the high price to get it in 24 hours. You're not going to order it from Graco and not know how long until you get that thing replaced, because you're not going to sleep for the next few nights until you get that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the things why it would catch my eye too, is because I know with items like this that it's something where if it gets lost or somebody needs to replace it, they want it really quick, and they're pretty much willing to pay whatever you need to in order to get that item. And so you're kind of taking advantage of the situation, but I figure I'm providing a service to the person who's buying it because they don't have to worry about, even if they ordered it from Walmart.com and did next day shipping, that's not going to include the day that they place the order like Walmart or like Amazon does. I could go on right now and do next day or shipping on something with my $3.99 is the fee usually for next day shipping, and it would be on my doorstep the next morning with no questions asked like there would be on Walmart. Okay. So that's kind of the process in a nutshell. There's much more to it than I can't do in the hour that we have here, but you can test the waters yourself. And if you decide, hey, I want to do this, but I don't want to do it myself, you can also automate it. This is one thing that we do in our business is we have a virtual assistant who actually does our price comparisons for us. And so what she'll do is go on to whatever website I tell her for the day, and she'll be checking I'll say, can you go on to Walmart.com and just check the baby aisle, or the baby, not aisle, the baby category, and compare all of the items and just see if there's anything that's selling on Amazon for more than the 3 times, or if it's, 2 times more, check and make sure that it's at least a 50% profit, or whatever my criteria is that I gave to her for the day. And then what happens is I get a daily list of finds that my VAs pick for me and says, I think that these would be something that would be worth you selling. And so then I go back through and I actually pick the best ones and do a little bit more research on them myself. But that actually takes a lot of the time out of the process. And so this is one of those things where it may be a little bit more advanced, and if you just really want to get your feet wet, it's not something that you would want to do right away. But as you grow your business and you decide, I really do like this, but I want to continue on with my other businesses as well, because I know as entrepreneurs we have a whole bunch of businesses. So it kind of takes the time out of that a little bit. For that, I use Google Drive Sheets to keep the spreadsheet, so we have a constant spreadsheet going between the two of us where I can see anything that she's added to the spreadsheet in lifetime. And I used to use Dropbox, and it just within the last couple of months realized how much easier Google Drive is to use. So if you're not using that, I would highly recommend that you try it out for different areas of your business, and that's just kind of an extra tip. And then for the VA, I found my VA on Odesk, but there's a ton of places that you can find virtual assistants if you decide that you want to automate this process even more. So that was just kind of a side note on for those of you guys who are like, that sounds like a good idea, but I don't want to sit on Walmart.com and compare all of these items. I could imagine, Nicole, you saying that. You're like, well, that sounds fun. I'd love to buy the items, but I don't want to necessarily find the items.
Well, I actually think it would be valuable for your first few finds to do it yourself, so you get the ideas and you see what's out there, and you might run across something and go, oh, I wonder, and start to get a vision for what types of products sell and which ones aren't. So I think I would do it more hands-on initially, and I am thinking of having my son do some of this, or my husband, because it's cool, it's interesting, and I think it's also a great way to learn more about business too, because it's good to diversify and have a lot of streams of income, have passive income if something happens, and this isn't passive forever, but once you have sent in products, if you do need to go on vacation, you will have some money coming in, assuming you did things right. So to me, I think it's definitely something that people need to consider, if not for themselves, but for someone in their family, to know that this is at least out there as an option.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, having the multiple streams, it does make a huge difference, because I've had people ask, well, why do you still actually sell on Amazon? You have other businesses now. And it's like, because why would you? I don't want to turn away $100,000 a year for such little work. And to me, it's really fun. Like, I enjoy the hunt of the item and the sell of it. It's fun to me. And so for people who are bargain shoppers, or enjoy finding something that maybe somebody else didn't find, it's actually pretty fun to do. It doesn't feel like work.
Well, and you have your best months starting now, right? October,
Right.
November, December are your highest months for Amazon FBA, because everybody's Christmas shopping. And if they're like me, they shop Prime, and they shop, scattered throughout the Christmas period, and then I start to ramp up as I get closer to Christmas, spending, and as the products are selling out, I don't know how many different FBA people I'm promoting through that process. But so I just wanted to bring this to our market to let them know that this is an option for them. Why don't you tell us some of the tips, and then I know you have a special offer on your big course, and then we also have some time for Q&A.
Okay. I do have the one other slide after this too about some of the pitfalls, so I'll try and speed it up. I know we're going a little bit long on time, so I'll try and speed it up. the first tip is a big one, and it's just to really start slow. I know that, again, as entrepreneurs, that we like to do something and we just like to dive all the way into it. But this is a business where you really need to take your time, figure it out, test some items to make sure that you understand the full process. Instead of buying 100 of one item, buy 10 different items and just buy a couple of each of those instead. The next one is shoot for at least 50% return on investment or more. And this one is something where, you see this a lot in online businesses where as long as you're getting a return, it doesn't matter how much it is. If you're doing a Facebook ad and you can spend $1, even if you only make 30 cents, you're still making 30 cents. But when you're actually doing physical products where you have to spend time processing them and touching them, you want to make sure that you're getting at least 50% or more back for your money, because otherwise quickly it's easy to be burned out if you're not making much money. So if I spend $1,000, I want to make at least $50. Or no, I don't want to make $50. Making sure you're listening. I want to make at least $500 on that $1,000 that I spent. If I was to make $200 or $100, it just wouldn't feel like it was worth it to me. An extra one is you can use cashback sites or discount gift cards to lower your purchase costs. Any advantage that you have over somebody else that's buying inventory, if you can get your costs down, that's definitely better. And then this one is a big one, is when you're first starting, stick with things in these categories: toys, home goods, and baby. These are 3 categories that don't have any restrictions on them. And so as you get into selling on Amazon, if you decide to go this route, you'll see that there are categories like health and beauty that you can't sell in right away. But if you stick with these 3 main categories, you'll actually not find any restrictions on you. And toys and home goods are 2 of my 3 biggest categories. The other one's health and beauty. So you can't start with that one, but know that these are categories that I'm doing most of my business in as well.
Jessica, you know what I wonder? I would actually wonder if using a frequent flyer miles card to put it on might be valuable too, the actual credit card. Or is that what you meant by cashback card? A cashback credit card?
I was talking about sites. So sites like eBay where you're getting cash back on the order, but you can actually use a miles credit card to place the order as well. So yeah, definitely. A lot of people will do that where they can travel for free because of their miles that they spend on the business. And if you think about, I don't have a miles card, so I don't know the exact equation. Maybe you can figure it out. But for 4th quarter alone, we'll end up spending over $100,000 in the 3 months on different cards, or just through our bank account. And that's money coming back in and going out. So I don't know how many miles that would get, but it'd probably get me to Florida a couple times, or at least once, right?
It would definitely get you several trips.
So that's something I probably should look more into. All right, so let's talk about some of the common mistakes, because I know this business may seem totally different than anything else, and this is something that you and I had talked about a lot. So one of the big ones is not treating Amazon like an actual business. So since it is so easy to get started in, it's easy to just think of it as more of a hobby, and you're not doing the legal process. So once you've actually decided, no, I'm going to make money this way, then you do need to treat it like a business. You will have to claim your income and have to have a business license, all of those things. So you don't want to just go into it and find out that at the end of the year when it's tax time that, oh, my hobby really is a business. Another one, and this is a big one with my students, is that they get stuck in information overload instead of just getting started. And so when I teach, I try and make everything step by step. And so you don't have to look too far ahead. You can just get started. That's the biggest hurdle of any business or doing anything, is to just get started. And so there's going to be a ton of information that you can look at, but being stuck in that information overload mindset is going to be the worst thing for your Amazon business. Another one is that not having buying guidelines or ending up with stale inventory. So there are a lot of things that I take into consideration when I'm buying inventory. Like I had mentioned before, not starting small because you don't want to end up with 101 thing that's not going to sell. So that's another one, is not having your own guidelines. So did you have any other mistakes or pitfalls that we've talked about that I didn't mention that you wanted to mention?
Well, I think just avoiding it because it sounds like work. It would be a common mistake because it's work. Yeah, it's a process. Yes, thousands of people have taken your courses and are learning how to do it the right way, but if you're not making money in your regular business, or you know somebody that's not making money that is computer literate and able to shop online and is savvy, it's just, it seems like a great option for them.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so shall we talk
Yeah.
about what we have?
Jessica put together a special coupon for us for her online arbitrage course to get $50 off using the coupon CG50 and using the link on that page. And what all do you have at that site?
So this is a beginner's course. So this is for somebody who's brand new to Amazon, and it's going to take you through the whole process of getting set up, understanding your buying guidelines, figuring out your profit margins, how to actually pack up your shipments and label them. It's going to make sure that your whole foundation is good and in a step-by-step process. And then what we did special on this course is that it's online arbitrage focused. So all the different things that I've shown you and that we've talked about, including like cash back and discount gift cards, all of that is going to be shown live so that you can actually see the process happening, so that you can do these things yourself. Instead of having to go and figure it out, we just have it all laid out in videos. I think on this version of the course there's about 20 videos that are step-by-step videos.
Okay, that's great. And to explain online arbitrage, that just means that you're buying stuff online, you're having it shipped to your house, you have the labels that Amazon has for you, you print those out and stick them on the products and turn around, box it back up and send it back to Amazon, they sell it, as opposed to driving around in your car, going to Big Lots, trying to get stuff. So the online arbitrage version would be a good starting point for anybody that would be interested in doing other things with Amazon, FBA, even private labeling things, which is a much more advanced option, but this is kind of the gateway to starting to experiment with Amazon FBA and learning what works, what doesn't, how not to get banned, or how to not get banned, if I said that backwards, and to stay on good terms with Amazon. And it's a great course for anybody that's thinking of doing this, and we wanted to give you a special coupon to do that. So you're ready to get into the Q&A?
Yep.
We've had a ton of questions. Can you explain?
Oh, good thing I kept it closed probably.
Can you explain the barcodes a little better? I tried to explain it because it's not like, I mean, you just pretty much log into your Amazon account and say I'm shipping these things in and hit print, right?
Yeah, so these are unique identifier labels, and so they look just like a UPC code does, except it's a little bit different, and it has a number on there, and that number identifies us as the seller. And so what we do is when we create the shipment in Amazon, we tell them each item that we're sending and how many of those items. And then we're able to print out a list of labels, and they're like on the Avery labels, the address labels. And so we go through and put these onto each of the products so that it will tell Amazon will scan it, just like a store will scan the UPC code to get the price. Amazon will scan it and it will pop up and tell them whose it is and where it should go in their warehouse. But every time that those items sell, if it's our item, they know exactly which ones to send in.
And that's why you can't drop ship directly to Amazon, because they have to be labeled with you as a seller ID. Is that correct, or is there more reason than that?
You can. actually work that system out, not from a retail website, but if you were doing something like wholesale, you could have them label them for you, or you could pay Amazon extra to label them for you. But those are all things where I don't like to spend that extra expense, or when people are just getting started, because all of those things will add up.
Okay. We have another question. What about selling your own products? Nicole mentioned knitting booties, but what if knitting is your current business? Can you sell your own products? I know that isn't the focus of your course, but do you know anything about that, or?
You actually can sell your own products. With Amazon, the way it works is each product has a listing page. So you've seen that we have, like, you go on and there's a whole bunch of sellers on one product. So what you would need to do is create a listing page for your product. It needs to be something that every time that you make it, it's going to be exactly the same. That's one of the harder things with people who make stuff, is they're usually making each one a little bit different. And so that would turn into a whole bunch of product pages. So you could do it that way as well. But if you're going to list them like as pink booties with polka dots, they would need to look exactly the same every time that you sold that item.
That makes sense. So in the course, do you go into how about trying to get into the restricted categories, and which are the restricted categories? Samantha asked, which are the restricted categories, and Bianca is saying that she has a special interest in clothing.
In this course, I don't go over getting approved into the different categories, but that's something that I have on my website. So we have it just as free information for anybody. So the two newest categories that have been restricted are the health and beauty, or health and personal care and beauty, and then grocery. And so those two take a process of getting orders like from online resources or like wholesale resources, and sending your invoices into Amazon and getting them approved, and that will make you an approved seller. And then clothing is kind of a totally different beast when it comes to an approved category. So we do have a full course on getting approved, because that's something that takes like 3 to 4 weeks to actually do the process of getting approved into clothing. And so that's something that I could help her with, but it's not something that's included in that course, because most people don't want to get approved into clothing right away.
Okay. Let's see. We have Cindy saying, what's a good pay range for outsourcing to a VA, the product search comparison that you talked about? And I was just going to hire my teenage son, but so I can pay him cheap. But what do you usually see people paying their VAs for that type of activity?
So it would depend on where you were getting your VA, if it was a U.S.-based VA or an international-based VA. I know that a lot of people probably use both, or may just use one. But for my sourcing VA, she's international, and so I actually only pay her $5 an hour.
Okay. And our Eleanor Pryor. Hi, Eleanor.
Hi, Eleanor. I love her.
I love Eleanor. I know. I love what I have been able to accomplish from taking Jessica's course. It has helped change my life. I love having multiple streams of income, and because of Jessica, I am enjoying a new one. Dive in. Trust me, it's amazing. You will love getting the emails from Amazon that say, Amazon has shipped the item you sold. Love me. That was sweet. Thank you. Janelle said, do you recommend this business for someone living outside of the U.S.? A couple people are asking about international, and we tried to make that clear on the page, but why don't you go into some explanation on that?
So you can do it international. It's not something that I teach, just because I'm not familiar with it myself. But the difference is that there are versions of Amazon in other countries, and those have their own set of guidelines and ways that you get started. What some people do is they'll take my course and they'll actually use an Amazon US site. So they may be living in the UK, but they're selling on Amazon here in the United States. And so they have to actually get their products to Amazon here. And so what usually happens is they'll use a third-party service where they pay somebody to process their inventory for them and send it into Amazon. So that works really good with the online portion of it. is where they can have the order shipped to the third-party service. That service will then process it just like you would at your home and send it into your account. If you're international, there are a few things that I'm not 100% sure how you would do them, because you do need like a U.S. bank account and things like that. And so that's why I say that my course is really made for people that are in the United States, but I have had about 20 people that I know of from international that have done it and started U.S. accounts.
Okay, so how do you actually get the money from Amazon? What are the options for getting paid?
I think the only, I guess I've done this for so long, I just have, mine is set up as direct deposit. And so usually the newer accounts, they're on a 2-week schedule. And so every 2 weeks you'll get paid whatever your shipped orders were for the 2 weeks prior. And for me, it's direct deposit, so it takes about 2 to 3 days
Perfect.
to actually arrive.
And what happens if your product does not sell?
If your product doesn't sell, you have 3 options. The first one is just lower your price. And so if I buy something and it does happen and it's a complete dud, then I'll just lower my price to where I may be breaking even, or I'm losing just a little bit of money, but that way I don't have to touch it again. Or you can have Amazon send it back to you, and they only charge 50 cents to have the item sent back to you. And then you could do whatever you want with them at that point, give them away as gifts or sell them at a yard sale, whatever. Or you could have Amazon just get rid of them for you. So that, again, they charge like, I think it's like 20 cents for a disposal fee. But before I do that, I always just say, I'd just rather take the loss on it than have it not do anything.
And what about competition? Are there still enough products for students to sell and still be able to make profits if there's a lot of students doing this process? I mean, I know the answer to that. It's just you have to be a little bit more clever, and it's not as easy finding products, but are there still products to help Amazon with their world domination?
Yeah, and the thing is that you can actually be selling the same thing as somebody else. Eleanor's a good example of that. She shares a lot of the things that she sells actually with other people, and so but she still is able to sell those same items, because it's not like you're going to send something in and there's only ever going to be one person who wants to buy it. And so what Amazon does is they rotate the sellers that are featured. So you may go on to an item today, like a sheet set. You may go onto that sheet set right now and it'll feature one seller, but then in an hour it'll feature a different seller. And so Amazon actually makes it to where we all get sales. And then the other thing is that, I mean, if you think about walking into a store, like even a grocery store, like if I walk into Save Mart, there are thousands and thousands and thousands of items. And so I could walk in there with my husband and we would find completely different things that we would want to sell. And so even if 2 people are looking at the same exact website, they're going to find different products to sell. And that's why I really try and focus on teaching the process of how to do it instead of actually telling you what to get. Because there are services where you can say, just tell me what to buy. But I figure if you can figure out the system yourself, then you don't have to worry about what everybody else is doing, because you're going to have your own unique ways of doing it. And I've even sourced with friends locally that I've taught how to sell on Amazon, and we'll walk into stores together and be walking in the aisles together and still buy separate things.
I like this one too. I'm curious about when Amazon doesn't already have a listing for a product on their site. I was looking for a specific bath item and Amazon didn't have any, and I found that item on a clearance on another online site for really cheap. I'd now like to buy more and sell them via FBA, but if Amazon doesn't have a listing for it, then what do I do?
So you can actually create your own listing pages, and you just fill in all the details yourself and put the pictures yourself. And so it's actually a pretty simple process. There are some things, like I've worked with Karen, I don't know how many people would know her here, but who does create Amazon listings. So if you can create the listing and make it good and make it searchable, then it will sell just like a page that's already there. One thing that I would point out is that once a listing is on Amazon, it's free game for anybody. So you could create the listing, but if somebody else then found that same item, they would be able to sell it on that page as well.
And that's another place where bundling comes in really handy. I know that's a more advanced thing, but can you just like go over what bundling is and the benefits of it?
Sure. So bundling is taking more than one product that is similar and often bought together and then packaging them up together and selling them as one listing. And what we like to do is find a way that we can make that unique to us so that nobody else would be able to find it. Because like I said, if they have the same thing, they could list it themselves, but if they can't find the same products, then they wouldn't be able to get on your listing, and so you take control of that listing basically. And so, for example, if you found, or I'll just say, if I have a sheet set that I bought from Target, but the matching big pillowcases were only from Kohl's, but they went together, I could put them together and somebody would have to buy them from those two stores in order to be able to sell them. But that would be a way to bundle something together and kind of cut out the competition a little bit.
Excellent. The tax information. Marilyn and Tony Sam said, can you explain the tax situation again? Do we not turn it in on our taxes? By the way, tell Jessica hi. This is Tanya Sam's, Jocelyn Sam's sister-in-law.
Oh, okay, so the tax situation, income tax, is that what you mean, Nicole?
I'm assuming it's income tax, yes.
Okay, it is one. That's kind of one of those tricky.
Well, first we have to say you're not a doctor, you're not an accountant, you're not a lawyer, any of those other things. You're just giving a quick overview of a possible answer.
Okay,
Is that subtle enough?
Yeah. So the IRS says once you've sold over a certain amount, I think it's like $500 on any one venue, then they want you to claim that income. It may be higher than that, but Amazon doesn't actually report your income until you've met the $20,000 in a year threshold of sold items. And so there's that gap where you're kind of responsible for your own accounting versus when Amazon will say, okay, this is how much they actually sold, and then you have to work backwards and say what your net profit is, and then that's what you would pay taxes on. So we pay taxes on our net profit at the end of the year for every item sold.
Excellent. I just think this is an amazing gateway for people to get in and start to learn the marketplace, some of the opportunities, look around, experiment, see what's selling, what's not, and just use it as a playground and start to, I still think Amazon's untapped. I really think they're still in major growth. So to me, I think it's a great opportunity, especially for people, like I said, that aren't technical, that just want to have an e-commerce store, sell stuff without having to have an e-commerce store.
Yeah. And I think this is something that's really good. I mentioned it in the very beginning, so if somebody just got here, you can get started and not have to put a whole lot up front. And so this is really good since Eleanor's here, for someone like her where she's done affiliate marketing and internet marketing in different venues, but she's able to start selling on Amazon and seeing profit right away. And so it's an easy way to add an additional income stream, but still be able to focus on whatever your goals are. Like I sell on Amazon, but I love to teach people how to sell on Amazon. I won't give up one for the other, but I wouldn't do one without the other either.
Excellent. And I also think that for bloggers, like mom bloggers, and health bloggers, why not be selling your own products on your own blog and reviewing them on your own blog and actually making more than 4% when one sells? It just, it makes sense.
That actually reminds me of something that's a little bit off, but it probably will resonate for people that do that. I've worked with a lot of people who are bloggers that talk about like kids art. I use that as an example. But what if you came up with your own art sets You know, so you were saying, okay, in order to, I'm going to make a blog and I'm going to teach you how to do this project with your kid. But not only that, I'm going to link you to the bundle of products that you need, because usually the blogger will link to all of the individual items that are needed for the product. But if they put all of those into one set themselves and then link only to the package, then they're getting that package as their own, and nobody else is ever going to be able to sell it because they made it unique and they include the instructions. Plus they're getting that Amazon affiliate and they're driving their own traffic to it. And so it's a total way that you can combine the two.
You know what else would work? A Kindle book. You can't link to Amazon affiliate links in a Kindle book, but you can link to products. So if you have products up there and you do a Kindle book on Ebola and how to, avoid it, and then you have links for prep things, how to filter your own water at home, battery-operated things, masks, whatever it is that you're sourcing up there, then you're going to be earning the money when people get the Kindle book and click through and buy things on Amazon, more than the associate program, which you can't do links to associate programs in the Kindle books. So tons and tons of ideas I'm getting, which is always a dangerous thing. Okay, do we receive a recording of the webinar? Yes, you do. And finding the right products is critical. How do we do this? It's trial and error. It really is. It's experimenting, putting things up there. To me, if I were doing it, I think I would pick a niche and kind of stick in that niche. I don't think I just run around and grab stuff from all over the place. But then again, that's how I market. I would put up a blog, like I said, a survival blog, a Kindle book, and then I'd source a bunch of survival type things on Amazon and then have a whole funnel. But that's how I do things. A lot of people are just running around grabbing stuff and sending it to FBA, which is cool too.
But even with the online sourcing, you do need to start with what you're familiar with, because just like I said, the website that you're familiar with, if I'm familiar with Target.com, but all of a sudden I'm looking in the pet section, I don't have pets and I don't know name brands of pet stuff, and so that's like totally out of my realm, my mindset. But if I go into the health and beauty section, I can recognize what the name brands are and what there's been advertisements for. And so you do have to be a little bit familiar with what you're looking to sell.
Exactly. And there's been times too where I've looked on Amazon for something that I've wanted and I haven't found it on there, which would then probably be a clue too, right?
Yeah, and that, I can't remember who it was that said that about finding the bath set and then finding it on another website. To us, that's like a huge bonus, if it's like you find something and you want it, of course other people are going to want it. And we do that too when we find a listing where it's already on Amazon but there's no other sellers. It's like, well, we know that people want this, then it's like perfect opportunity.
Or it's back ordered. That would be another clue too, right? I mean, I'm just thinking with my marketing brain here. All right. Let's see. Do we have any other questions? Obviously, Shad, we can't point out products and say to buy those products themselves because we've got all these people on the call. But apparently, Jessica, when people sign up for your course and they go through the how to do everything, you also give them like resources for scanning on their phone, tools that do the listing and all that stuff too, right? There's additional tools out there. It's just that's way beyond the scope of what we're talking about for beginners. Yeah, hour and a half webinar. I mean, your course is like hours and hours long, right?
Yeah, it's at least 20 videos, so keep all your tools.
So lots of tools out there, lots of resources. You have Facebook groups for your members as well that they can upgrade and join. And you have a fourth quarter coaching program. I know that's going on right now. So there's a lot of stuff to this, and we're just giving you an overview at this point. But Jessica's course will give you a lot more information beyond what we can cover today. So again, the link is coachglue.com/ABC, and the coupon is CG50. And if you guys have any other specific questions, we can answer them. I think we got most of them. They're all pretty similar. So Jessica, I just wanted to thank you so much. How long is a coupon good?
It doesn't expire.
It doesn't expire. Should we give them a bonus if they buy today? Do you have an extra video from one of your courses we could throw in there?
I could. I don't have one off the top of my head, but I can, sure.
All right, we'll give you an extra something if you buy it today. We'll talk about it and figure something out. So everybody on the call that stuck around, you guys are awesome. We will make sure you get an extra goodie in your account if you buy. It probably won't be a huge course, but it'll be something extra because we do appreciate our fast action takers the most because you guys are awesome. Buy it, go through it, take action, and we can't wait to see where you go with it.
Thanks for having me, Nicole and Melissa.
Of course. Guys, we'll send out the recording if you want to go back through this, and we appreciate you so very much. We'll be in touch. Talk to you soon. Bye.